Hi quilters, it's Pam from AccuQuilt. How are you doing on your blocks? We're already to month 4. Can you believe how fast it has gone? Are you having a good time? I'm having a great time. So before we start today, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Always, we'd like to thank Anthology Fabrics for our beautiful batik fabrics that we're using in our kits. And AccuQuilt is our sponsor today. Now remember, quilters, you can always cut out all of the pieces using your rotary cutter and your ruler. I'm going to show you how today to use your Go fabric cutter and cut those pieces 90% faster. All right, so first, if you're using your Go fabric cutter, you need 2 dies from your 8-inch cube. You need die number 2, which has those 4 multiples of squares. And then you need die number 5, which are those half square triangles. Now, quilters, we've been using our dies quite a bit here in the last couple of months, so I'm going to show you a little trick. So see right here where I have some threads hanging out on my die? I am going to take a lint brush, and I'm just going to run it across the fabric die. Look at that. And it's going to pull out all those pieces. So while I'm doing it, let's do this one. And then if you want to, you can do your shirt, because we always get string on our shirt, don't we? All right, let's cut some squares. So this is our multiple for squares. I want to make sure that label is at my belly. And always the lengthwise grain of the fabric is going to travel back and forth through the fabric cutter. Now, quilters, the only shape I have to cut on these squares, or the only color, is this orange color. So I can cut up to 6 layers of cotton fabric. So be sure to go to your instructions and subcut your strips so that you have the right size strips. So I can lay 6 layers over the top, run it through the fabric cutter. I want to make sure that mat doesn't come flinging up there. Slide that mat, don't lift. Pull back our scrap fabric. Ta-da, we've cut those squares. All right, now we also need to cut half square triangles. So what I've done is I've taken the 3 remaining fabrics, which all happen to be on those smaller strips. And since we can cut up to 6 layers, I'm going to take all 6 layers, put the cutting mat on top. Remember, if we have a tail, we're just going to tuck it underneath. Slide that mat off, don't lift. And look at that, we've cut perfect half square triangles. All right, quilters, get all your pieces cut. Meet me back here in a few minutes, and we're going to assemble our Flying Birds block. All right, quilters, did you just cut a bazillion half square triangles in no time at all? Indeed you have. So now that you've cut your bazillion half square triangles, let me show you how to put this beautiful Flying Birds block together. So watch this. I'm going to take my half squares that we've cut, I'm going to put right sides together, and I'm going to stitch them. And then always remember, we're pressing to the dark side. So these 2 half square triangles make this block unit, this square unit. Then we're going to sew the square to the square, like this, and make this unit. Now look here, you can already see how I've already started to build the block. So now I always want to make sure that I have my sewing instructions next to me so that I can make sure that I put together this block in the right order. So I'm going to put it down here. And then those there. So see how I've laid it all out, quilters? So you want to lay the rows out first, press them one direction, one row, the other direction, the other row, one direction, the other direction, so that when you piece them together, you have those nice flat edges, so you don't get a lot of bulk. So all of the rows together to make this block, and then look how easy it goes into our whole big square. Now, quilters, remember, sometimes our blocks are different blocks, all 4 different blocks, but these 4 squares make one block of all the same shapes and design. So look how beautiful it is. Do you see it in the quilt behind me? All right, quilters, hang with me. We're coming right back. You want to find out what we're doing our second block this month. All right, quilters, you ready to start our second block for month 4? It's called Depression, but don't be sad. It looks so beautiful when we're done. All right, first of all, remember you can always cut using a ruler and a rotary cutter. I'm going to use our Go Fabric Cutter today. If you're using our Go Fabric Cutter, you need these 3 dies from your 8-inch cube. You need die number 4, which are quarter square triangles. There are 4 on the die board. Die number 6, which is a square on point, and die number 5, which are those half square triangles. We're going to make some squares in a square today. Pretty exciting. All right, first of all, since we're making 4 blocks that are the same fabrics just put together differently, we need to cut all the shapes from all the fabric. So how easy is this? I've taken all 4 of my fabrics in the wide strip. Be sure and refer to your instructions on how wide to cut that strip. And I'm going to lay those 4 right there. I'm going to grab my cutting mat. Now quilters, remember, don't worry about that tail. Make sure it doesn't. There we go. I'm going to slide that mat right off and don't lift. And then look. Ta-da! We've cut perfect quarter square triangles in each one of our 4 colors. All right, we're going to do the same for our square on point. Quilters, this is the center square that you would use to make Storm at Sea or a square